What's up, y'all? So, I just came back from a 12:01 showing of Jurassic World Rebirth. Let's talk about it. So, let me just say that I'm going to do this a little different. I won't have spoilers per se, but it won't be a non-spoiler. So I'll tell you just enough that I'm not ruining it, but will make you want to go and see it. So we're going to do it that way. So tonight I went to go see Jurassic World Rebirth, and I noticed they had a couple of tickets. I bought a regular ticket, but one of the things that amazed me was that they were still selling it in 3D. They have a 3D version that you can go and see with the glasses. Now, I've always loved the technology of 3D because it has gotten so good. I'm not sure why it stopped. It was clear, it was 3D. The 3D at home was 10 times better than what you would get at the theater. You had true depth and all of that. But I went to go see the movie tonight, and you could tell that it was written by Michael Crichton. For some reason, he has a way of writing that you can relate to. He wrote the first film, and he also wrote the second film. The first film just had something about it that was just different than any of the sequels. Well, in this one, you can tell he kind of tries to recapture that thing. The thing is that the magic of the first film, I don't think we can recapture that. I don't think that we can recapture that magic because that was the first time we had ever seen that technology. So, but is it a good film? It's a blockbuster for this generation. Of course, they'll never have what we had, but it's still a blockbuster. So now today, the dinosaurs are dying off. They're not doing well. The museums that used to house them are closing down. People are not thrilled by dinosaurs anymore. If I have to be honest, it feels like the end of an era, the way that they are addressing the dinosaurs not just being a thrill anymore. And now we live in a world in this movie where they are really thriving in tropical areas, places that are near the equator. A lot of people are talking about the cast. This is the first film where we have some major cast in the film, like Mahershala Ali and Scarlett Johansson. And the funny thing about that is, because we've never had major cast like that before, it brought a different feeling. So they were able to do more kind of dramatic character building than what we had gotten in the past. And it seems a little out of place, but it's also refreshing. And these two, they're able to pull it off. It was relatable for me, and it felt like a movie that I actually wanted to watch. So I've seen a couple of YouTubers who complained about how they introduced the family unit to the military parties or the scientists who were going to the island. I was a little concerned about that, but I did have a few questions, and we'll get to that later. But the way that they brought it together, how they got them together, totally made sense to me. I didn't see what the problem was. It was clear that they needed a emotional impact by having children. And by having children, it would be more dynamic when they are pursued or introduced to the dinosaurs. So did we need it? I don't know, but it did come together well. It worked. I will say that I did not expect to be moved by the whole dinosaurs and water thing. I didn't think that would be exciting, but the Spinosaurus scenes were a lot more exciting than what I thought they would be. I wish that they just had not spoiled it so much. So there were a few things that I didn't understand, and I'm not spoiling anything, but I'm just, these are things that have also been talked about by other YouTubers as well. It was clear that they were in areas of the world that they should not have been in waters that they should not have been in, but they were on a mission to accomplish something. It was like a military scientist type of thing to create cures for the world. However, what I did not understand is, where did this family that was just floating out in these waters on their little tugboat, why were they out there? They never did explain it. Maybe I missed it, but it just seemed like if everybody knows that you were not supposed to be in those waters, how did they get out there? Why were they there? I don't recall it ever being explained. Let me know in the comments if, you found out. But I just thought that was just a little weird, and I just questioned, and I kept waiting for an answer that I never got. So once the family connected with the military groups who were going to the island, something happened. I'm not going to tell you what happened, but something happens where the father instructed that all the family members jump off the boat. Something did happen, but the last thing that you would do to solve what had happened was to jump off the boat into hostile waters. So it just seemed like they would have done anything but jump off the boat. And I was really surprised by that. And nothing came of that situation. They, I don't know. It was just unexplained. It's a little mystery to me. It was just weird. Let me know what you think. Did you find that weird? And then as I was watching the movie and everybody's on the island and, some people were separated, there was one character who totally disappears. Maybe I missed it again. I'm not sure why, but for a long time, he's just not there. And then all of a sudden, the two groups who were separated kind of make their way back to each other. And all of a sudden, he just comes out of the bushes out of nowhere. It was just weird to me. Then there was this boat issue. I'll call it a boat issue. They came in on a military boat, right? And the hostile waters made them wreck their military-grade boat. But watch the end of the movie and see what they escape in, and then come back and tell me. I need an explanation. I need for y'all to explain to me the boat that they ended up leaving in to escape the island. I need an explanation. So y'all come on back and put that in the comments. I would be interested in you guys explaining that to me, and if that kind of made sense to you guys. Now, a few things that I love. I love that they were in danger, and as soon as they get to the island, they let you know that this is not going to be just some experience where you can come in and get off real easily. These are wild animals. I loved it. I love that they created that whole unsafe environment by having a few things that happen to let you know you are unsafe on this island. Another thing that I loved, when they introduced Dora, the little animal, the little dinosaur that the little girl attaches herself to, it was eerily reminiscent. Please let me know if you caught this. It was eerily reminiscent to E.T. and Elliot, and how when they first met, and the music and how they brought together that whole scene. It was definitely a Steven Spielberg touch. Absolutely, hands down. I just see his handprint all over that scene. Did you detect that? Did you detect that? It was, you could feel that little magic there. So tell me if you saw that. It's the first thing I thought about. E.T. and Elliot meeting and their whole bonding experience. A little short scene, but it was absolutely there with that little touch of Steven Spielberg magic. Now, I was a little concerned about mutated dinosaurs that they did not want being on this island, and us seeing these mutated dinosaurs for the first time and seeing what they were all about. I just wasn't going for it. I wasn't ready for it, and I just thought it was going to be strange. But the way that they set these dinosaurs up to be introduced to us, it made all the difference in the world. Now, the D-Rex, I just knew I wasn't going to like him, because the first thing I thought about was the Rancor monster that Luke Skywalker fought in Return of the Jedi, Star Wars Return of the Jedi. That's the first thing I thought about, and I'm thinking, how did they think this would be okay? I just knew I wouldn't like anything about him. I don't know. But the way they set him up, they nailed his position every time he was on the scene. Anytime the D-Rex was on the scene, you got a very, either it was emotional or it was surprising. So they set him up for the win. And that makes all the difference. Just like and I'm calling it a flying velociraptor. The flying raptor was set up in a way that he does something in this film that no other films have done, which immediately lets you know that he is not one to be played with at all. It immediately lets you know, okay, this is not safe. This is really not safe. And I can't give it away. I can't give it away. I can't give it away. Now, if you made it this far, I want to say thank you. But can you do me a favor and high-five me on that like button? And then leave your digital footprint by subscribing. It's just a button and it's free. You're watching, so we might as well be friends. Shit, we can do this all the time. All right, now back to the G.A.Turks show. So now for me, the whole setup of people being trapped on an island with ferocious wild animals, this was the movie that I wanted to see. And I really hated that they showed so much of it in the trailers, because after those scenes, I wanted more. Yes, when those scenes were happening, there was more in the scenes that, brought the scenes together, but I just wanted more action. I wanted more desperation. I wanted more setup. I wanted more situation. I wanted more adventure scenes. I wanted to see them in more peril circumstances other than what was shown in the trailers. I just wanted something else other than what we had already seen to happen. I wanted more. But they showed pretty much everything in the trailers, and I hate that. I really hate that. I wish that the movie execs would learn from this, that it's a Jurassic World movie. You don't have to show everything. The people are going to come. But they did, and it just kind of left me wanting more. I wanted a surprise. I wanted something else, but I just didn't get it. But I will say that this movie actually has a lot of rewatchability. In a time where movies, you kind of forget them as soon as you walk out the door, this movie was fun. This movie had rewatchability. All right, so let's talk about the sound. I thought I was really impressed. Anytime you hear that classic theme, it's impressive. And I thought, contrary to what other YouTubers thought, I thought they picked good places to put or bring up the theme song. Every time they played it, it was a nostalgic feeling of like, yes, this is it. This is what I've been looking for. Now, the composer of this film, Jurassic World Rebirth, was Alexandre Desplat. I hope I said that name correctly. But he idolized John Williams. And I love that you can clearly tell that he was giving homage to the man, the myth, the legend. But I loved how he would go into the actual score, but he would sprinkle little things in it that kind of fit the scene and the moment. So it kind of veered off just a little bit, but it was still magical. It was still beautiful, and he got it right. This man's scores throughout this movie, I would argue it was a third character. And at a time where you can walk out of a hero movie and not remember the score, or you can walk out of movies that normally would have had a score. Like if I can give you any part of The Color Purple and you'll know exactly what scene that is from what's being played. Jaws, Superman. When you hear certain scores, this is the moment. You remember it. But I don't remember really anything that's done today. But this movie, this man, I don't know much about him, but he nailed it because all of the scenes were heightened by the music. So the attack scenes were more thrilling. They were more terrifying because the actual score was thrilling. It was a third character. He made all the scenes absolutely more exciting. And the way that they dealt with sound in the movie was really nice. In the scene with the T-Rex in the water, everybody's waiting for that scene, but the way that they've shown it online in the trailers over and over, I just wasn't thrilled about it because they had already given it away. I wasn't excited about it. And so when the scene came, it started, and let me tell you what made the scene. The music. This man's score made the scene. It made it thrilling. It made it more impactful. I was on edge just because of how the music impacted the entire scene. This man, he clearly knows what he's doing. The music made the scene, and it's just not often that we get that today. And so I was really shocked to have that experience, because you know when it's right. It was right. And we love Jurassic Park and Jurassic World. We want it to be right. And he nailed it. He just nailed it. Another thing about the sound that I just noticed, it was noticeable. All around you, all the time, when you're in the forest, you could hear ambient sounds of being in the forest or the jungle. The birds, the crickets, the animals, the dinosaurs, you could hear all of that. They made it so that this movie was full of sounds that completely wrapped you up. My theater where I was, it was just noticeable. I don't know if I just had the perfect seat or what, but it was obvious, and it was a part of the movie. I was thoroughly surprised at what I was getting. And the D-Rex, when he came on the scene, his growl, his grumble, his roar was all in the back of you. You knew where he was according to what you were seeing on the screen, and it made a difference. And of course, it would not be a Jurassic Park movie without the walk and the growl and the roar of the T-Rex. So that was absolutely in there. That bass is definitely going to be an experience in DTS:X or Atmos when they bring it to 4K. So I hope they bring the entire sound to 4K. I'm excited to see what they do with this. Visuals. I absolutely love the way this movie looked. There were a lot of great shots of the dinosaurs in a way that you have never seen them before, especially the close-ups, because they've never shown them in this way before. So this film was shot in Thailand, and it made a difference. To me, it was like somebody said, you know what? I liked part 3, but let's go back and do it right. So with them actually filming on locations in a real forest or a jungle setting, it made a difference, because in part 3, yes, they were out in the wild in the jungle, but it always seemed like they were on a set to me. So this was clearly a difference. They created an entire ambiance for you. I got that same feeling when the newer King Kong came out was it 2000? I'm not sure. But they created a whole environment that I loved, and I always felt like they did it better than Jurassic Park. But the thing is that this movie comes back and it gives you that. And not only does it give you that, it gives you sweeping scenery of, the water and where they are and the sun, and, it's summertime, and the mountains and the jungle, the greenery, the caves and the caverns. And it kind of feels a whole lot like Indiana Jones. So you got the sweeping views of the waterfalls. It was just a beautiful looking film, right? And it gave you a feeling like you were actually on an adventure. Man, that's what we want today. It's rarely that you go to a movie and you feel like you're actually going somewhere. Well, I have to give this movie credit because, it was enjoyable. It took me out of today and into their world, and I was on an adventure. And I can only imagine that it's only going to look better on 4K. So let's wrap this up. Okay, so something I think would be interesting for you guys to know is in 1992, I guess I was working a lot. I don't know, but I had never heard of Jurassic Park. I was here in Houston, and I went to Sharpstown Mall, and I was walking, and they had a theater there. I was off, and I saw the poster, and Jurassic Park, the one with the mosquito and the amber, and I just bought a ticket simply because it was by Steven Spielberg. His name was stamped on it. I knew it had to be good. Imagine how I felt when I was sitting there not knowing anything about it. I'm a little taken with dinosaurs, so can you imagine what I felt when I actually saw a live dinosaur on the screen? I was completely blown away. And then, again, it took you away with an adventure. So this movie kind of captures that. Will they ever have that magic again? No, because, you know, that was the first time and that was magical for us, and it was done right with the music and everything was done right. The sound, all of that was done right. We can't capture that again. So the only thing they can do is give us new adventures and settings and getting it right. I think that this is in the right direction. Would I check this movie out again? Yes, I would. Like I said earlier, buy it because I want to see it and experience this adventure in the best sound and visual quality that it could possibly give. So I'm waiting on that experience. That's the experience that I'm waiting on because this movie has rewatchability. And before I go, listen, there was a decision in the last conversation of the movie. And I want to know, what would you have done with the decision that is posed in the last conversation in the movie? For me, this is all I got to say. This is all I got to say. This is my decision. Let me know how you would have decided on that last question that they had to decide on. Put it down below. So guys, until next time, be sure to like and subscribe. I enjoy doing these with you and for you. I hope that you guys get something out of it. Let me know that you're here by liking and subscribing. And until the next video, I'll see you soon. Bye.